In this problem, we have two equations and two unknowns. Our unknowns are considered to be u and v. Everything else that appears, namely a, b, c, d, e, and f, are considered to be known or given quantities. Just treat them as though they were just numbers, and we're solving for the unknowns u and v. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. First, I'm going to start out by doing it incorrectly. So here I go. First, I'm going to take this equation and solve it for u. So when I do that, I'll get u equals c minus bv over a. There, I've solved for u. Now I'm going to go to the other equation and solve it for v. And I'll get v is equal to f minus du over e. Now, I didn't make any algebra mistakes. This is algebraically correct, and this is algebraically correct. But this is not solving for u and v, because when you solve for a quantity, you want to make sure that that quantity is expressed purely in terms of known or given quantities. Here, I've expressed u, but it's in the form it depends on v, but I don't know what v is. And likewise here, I've written down an expression for v, but the problem is it depends on this unknown quantity u. So I haven't really solved for anything. So we don't want to do that. So let's start again and do this properly. So we have two equations and two unknowns, and let's recall our procedure. Grab one of the equations, it doesn't matter which one, I'm going to arbitrarily choose this one, and solve for one of the unknowns in terms of the other, either u or v. Again, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to take this first equation and solve it for u in terms of v. And once I get that, then I'm going to substitute what I found for u into the second equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I manipulate this first equation and I solve for u, and with a little bit of algebra, you should be able to convince yourself that u is equal to c minus bv over a. Okay, so that's u expressed in terms of v. Now what I'm going to do is hop on over to this second equation here and take this expression for u and plug it right in there. So when I do that, this second equation is now going to become d times u, but u is c minus bv over a plus ev equals f. And now we see that we've made a little progress, because look over here, we have one equation here, and the only unknown in here is v. So we have one equation, one unknown. What we're going to do is go ahead and solve this for v. Now, solving this equation for v isn't hard. We've seen examples like it before. It's just slightly messy. So we would just expand out this side, collect all the v terms on this side, move everything else to the other side, and solve for v. And if we do that, and I'll leave this to you to check, but if you solve for v, you'll find that v is equal to the following: cd minus af over bd minus ae. Great, so now we've solved for what v is. And notice that this expression for v is written entirely in terms of things that we know. Remember, a, b, c, d, and e were all given or known quantities, so this can be thought of as a known quantity. So we've just found out what v is. Then what we're going to do is take this expression for v and plug it back into here to find out what u is. And if we start doing that, it's going to get a little bit messy, but we're going to find u is equal to c minus b times v, and v, we're going to substitute in the mess that we found. Great. So all we've done is substituted in this expression for v into here, and now we have an expression for u. Now this looks rather ugly, but no worries. The important thing is that A, B, C, D, E, and F, they're all known given quantities, so this is known. So we've found out what u is now. We've actually solved for u. By the way, if we wanted to simplify this expression for u, we can algebraically manipulate it a little bit, and we could write it as follows. CE minus BF over AE minus BD. So there it is, a little bit simplified. And let me box this. So here's what u is in terms of known quantities. Here's what v is in terms of known quantities. So we've solved the problem. By the way, you could use software instead to solve those equations for you. So here I'll illustrate using software called Wolfram Alpha. It's a free software package. So I just go to this website, Wolfram Alpha, and let me type in and tell Wolfram Alpha what I want it to do. I want it to solve the following equations. A times u plus b times v equals c, and d times u plus e times v equals f. And what do I want to solve it for? I want to tell the software to solve it for u and v. So that way it knows which variables it's supposed to be solving for. And then I run it. And there we go. So if we look over here, we say, there, it found what u is. U equals CE minus BF over AE minus BD, and here's what V is. Great, and that's what we had found before.